What's up everybody, it's your boy David. In general, every tabletop can use more scatter terrain. So today, we're going to be making these alien cacti from cheap, easily accessible supplies. The first thing that we're going to be using is a cleaning brush of some sort. You can see here I'm using a cheap hand brush from the dollar store. This works great for the end product, but I've used brooms or even unused toilet brushes for similar effect. The first step is going to be melting clumps of bristles together with a lighter. You can either do this while they're attached to the brush or after cutting them off. Be careful to keep them together though, because static can make realigning a pile of them nearly impossible. When you're melting, make sure you're in a well-ventilated area because melting plastics aren't good for your lungs. Also try to vary the amount of bristles in each clump to give more variety. The next step is going to be wrapping our bristle clusters with pipe cleaners. Depending on how many bristles are in a clump, as well as how tall or fat you want the base to be, vary the amount of pipe cleaner you use. Half a pipe cleaner is plenty for a small and short cacti. A full pipe cleaner will get you a taller, thicker one. At this point, we're going to partially melt the fuzzies on the pipe cleaners to get a bark texture. Few words of wisdom. Don't get too close to the brush bristles or the flame will melt them too. Don't melt too much of the pipe cleaner or you're going to lose the texture and just have wire. Make sure you're in a ventilated area and do not use glitter pipe cleaners unless you're trying to commit arson. They don't melt, they just catch fire. Experiment with the supplies you have to make sure you know how to work with them, just in case, and be safe. Repeat this many times. I recommend at least 6 pods per terrain base, but that can vary. I also gently trimmed the tips of my bristle clusters to make them look less uniform and a bit more natural. For bases, I'm using corrugated cardboard I've cut to size and beveled. You could also use chipboard here, but I've got a backlog of recyclables to work through. Then, hot glue those pods on. I like 6 or so per base with the size I'm making, but you do you. After that, do a quick coat of spray primer. Don't expect perfect coverage here. Pipe cleaners are still pretty absorbent even when half melted. Follow this up with a heavy base coat of slightly thinned paint on the cacti bodies. As with the primer, a lot of this will still get absorbed, so play around with it. You can really see the difference in coverage between the cacti and the flat cardboard here. For the bristles, I recommend mixing some Mod Podge into the green paint to really help them clump together. Thin this a little bit too to get it really deep in the bristles, and do multiple coats if you need to. After this, highlight everything one color lighter before slapping on a dark wash. Follow this up with an even lighter dry brush on the plant and bristles to get some really great contrast going. I also inked the bristles at this stage with a nice green to make them look a bit more moist and lively. There's several ways to base at this point. Watered down PVA glue and flocking is a classic, but not my personal go-to. I like to start and finish any given project in a single day when possible, so my glue of choice is cheap, runny super glue from the dollar store. To flock the base, add your glue of choice, and then dip it into your flocking mix. I use a combination of upcycled coffee grounds and black tea leaves for this. After flocking, I decided I wanted to bring up the color on my plants a touch to differentiate them a bit further from the base. The final step here is going to be spice. All of my terrain pieces with dirt recently I finished off the same way. Sprinkle on a touch of cinnamon, chili powder, and cayenne pepper. This adds some highlights and nice texture differences without needing to paint it. I recommend a mask during this part so you don't sneeze. And after you're done, make sure you seal the pieces with a spray sealer to lock everything down. And that's it for this build, fam. Stay safe, sane, and crafty out there, and I'll see you next time.